Have you ever stood in a place where the air feels thick with secrets, where every creak of the floorboards and flicker of a shadow sends chills down your spine? Imagine walking through a grand old mansion, sunlight filtering through ancient oaks, while an almost tangible sense of history presses down on you, heavy yet fascinating. Today, we are venturing into one such place, a house where beauty and darkness exist in a haunting harmony, the Myrtles Plantation. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Paranormal Pursuits. I'm your host Shinjan. Now personally, I've always been drawn to mysterious houses. I don't know why. There's something about their timelessness, their silent stories, and their air of secrets that beckons me. Maybe you feel it too. That pull towards the unknown, the unexplainable. Now picture this. Towering columns frame the front of a sprawling antebellum mansion. Spanish moss drapes like curtains from ancient oaks swaying gently in the breeze. The setting is almost too perfect, as if pulled from the pages of a Southern Gothic novel. But look closer. Notice the shadows that seem to move on their own, the unsettling silence that settles just before sunset. This isn't just any historic home. This is one of the most haunted places in America. Located in St. Francisville, Louisiana, this picturesque antebellum mansion has earned a reputation for its beauty, yes, but also for the ghostly legends that seem to cling to it like the moss to its trees. What makes a place so inviting yet so eerie? Is it the tragic history of its residents, the lingering spirits of those who suffered within its walls, or perhaps it's our unending fascination with places where the past refuses to fade? What secrets lie in the halls of the Myrtles Plantation? Who are the restless souls set to walk its grounds? What stories do they want us to hear, and why? And most importantly, would you dare to stay the night? Let's unravel the mysteries of the Myrtles Plantation together. The story of the Myrtles Plantation begins in 1796, when General David Bradford fled Pennsylvania, leaving behind accusations of treason tied to the Whiskey Rebellion. Seeking refuge in the remote wilderness of Louisiana, he built this grand estate, originally naming it Laurel Grove. It would become a sanctuary, not just for Bradford, but also for generations to follow, and for the secrets that would grow within its walls. The Myrtles Plantation is a classic example of antebellum architecture. Homes of this style were designed to embody wealth and power, with grand columns that seem to reach the sky and wrap around verandas offering views of the sprawling grounds. Every detail, from the intricate wrought ironwork to the polished wooden floors, spoke of an era where appearances were everything. Yet, for all their beauty, these homes were built on a foundation of inequality. Life at the plantation was a tale of two worlds. The owners, like the Bradford and later the Woodruff families, lived lives of relative ease and comfort. Mornings began with breakfast served on fine china, prepared by enslaved cooks who had already been awake for hours. Afternoons might involve strolls through the gardens or entertaining guests in the parlor, while evenings were reserved for lavish dinners or parties where music filled the air. But behind the scenes, it was the enslaved individuals who bore the weight of this luxury. Their days began before the first light of dawn and ended long after the sun set. Tasks ranged from grilling labor in the fields to endless chores within the house. There was no rest, no reprieve, and no choice. This stark contrast, opulence for some, hardship for others, is woven into the very fabric of the Myrtles Plantation. As the years passed, the plantation saw its share of tragedy. Murders, mysterious deaths, and the infamous legend of Chloe have only added to its haunted reputation. Chloe, an enslaved woman, is said to have sought revenge on her master by poisoning a birthday cake intended for his children. The story goes that 2 children died and Chloe was subsequently hanged by fellow slaves. Her spirit, clad in a green turban, is one of the most frequently reported apparitions. Then there's the story of the antique mirror in the main hall. Guests have reported seeing handprints and faint faces within its glass, believed to belong to Sarah Woodruff and her children, who also met untimely deaths. Attempts to clean the mirror have failed, with the marks mysteriously reappearing each time. The plantation's history didn't stop with its original owners. Over time, it became a crossroads for various families, each adding their own layer of mystery. From Civil War skirmishes nearby to whispered tales of hidden treasures buried on the grounds, the Myrtles Plantation has always been a place where fact and folklore intertwine. As the saying goes, if walls could talk, the Myrtles Plantation would have endless tales to tell. Over the years, countless visitors and staff have reported eerie experiences that defy explanation. Let's begin with the most famous ghost of the plantation, Chloe. Chloe is an enduring figure in the plantation's lore, often seen wandering the property. Her green turban has become a hallmark of eyewitness accounts. One particularly chilling story comes from a guest who awoke in the middle of the night to find Chloe standing silently at the foot of their bed. The guest described her expression as calm but intense. "She didn't say a word," they recounted, "but her presence was undeniable. And then, just as suddenly as she appeared, she was gone." But Chloe isn't the only ghost to linger there. Another mysterious phenomenon revolves around the plantation's piano. On multiple occasions, visitors have reported hearing soft, melancholic melodies drifting through the halls. Yet when they investigate, the piano's lid is firmly shut, the keys untouched. Now imagine sitting alone in the parlor at twilight, with faint strains of music wrapping around you like a spectral embrace. And then there's the infamous mirror in the main hall. This antique piece has fascinated and unnerved visitors for decades. Some describe seeing faint handprints on shadowy figures within the glass, while others claim to have captured faces staring back at them in photographs. One visitor shared a chilling story. "I was taking a picture of the mirror when I saw a child's face reflected in the glass, but there was no one else in the room." Children's laughter is another common report. Imagine walking through the plantation's grand halls, the creak of the wooden floors beneath your feet, only to hear the sound of giggles echoing behind you. You turn, but the hall is empty. These playful yet eerie sounds leave a lingering sense of unease. Some stories are more obscure, like that of a spectral dog said to roam the grounds. Guests have reported hearing its bark late at night or even feeling the brush of fur against their legs. Others claim that the dog follows them for a short while before disappearing altogether. as if it's guarding the property even in death. One of the most unsettling encounters was reported by a staff member locking up for the night. They described hearing heavy boots pacing back and forth on the floor above them. "I knew I was alone," they said, "but the sound of those footsteps was unmistakable." And then there are the shadow figures. These are often glimpsed out of the corner of your eye, tall, dark shapes that seem to melt into the walls when you turn your face to them. Some guests have described feeling a chill in the air just before spotting one, as if the room's temperature suddenly dropped. The Myrtles Plantation isn't just haunted. According to visitors, it feels alive, brimming with stories that refuse to fade into history. From the wandering spirits of its tragic past to the unexplained phenomena that continue to baffle visitors, this place remains a beacon for believers and skeptics alike.
Boo! Just popping in to make sure you're still with us. It's me, Ghastly Gary, your friendly neighborhood ghost. I've been haunting these podcast airwaves since I wandered into a mysterious audio vortex one eerie night. Now, I stick around to keep things spooky and fun. If you're enjoying the chilling tales so far, stick around until the end. I've got a few ghostly giggles and some important news to share. And remember, the real chills are always in the details. So keep those ears open and stay curious, my spectral friends. All right, I'll float back into the shadows for now. But don't forget, I'll be back at the end of the episode with a special message just for you. Now, on with the show.
Now, speaking of skeptics, what might explain the eerie phenomena reported at the Myrtles Plantation? Could these experiences truly be supernatural, or is there a more rational explanation hiding in the shadows? Let's begin with pareidolia, the brain's tendency to find patterns, like faces, in a random stimuli. This phenomenon might explain some of the sightings in the infamous mirror. A smudge on the glass, or even subtle reflections from lighting could create the illusion of ghostly figures. But what about the faces and handprints that seem to reappear even after the mirror is cleaned? That's really hard to dismiss. Science also points to infrasound as a possible explanation. Infrasound refers to low-frequency sound waves often produced by natural sources like wind or even old building structures. These sound waves are below the range of human hearing but can cause unease, dizziness, and even visual disturbances. Could the creaking doors, mysterious footsteps, or even shadowy figures at the Myrtles Plantation be amplified by infrasound created by this aged architecture? I mean, it's possible, but we don't really know. Another fascinating theory is the idea of residual hauntings. Now, paranormal researchers suggest that locations tied to intense emotional events like grief, fear, or anger might retain what they call residual energy. This energy could act like a recording, replaying past events for those sensitive enough to perceive them. At the Myrtles, the tragic deaths and emotional turmoil endured by its residents must have left behind these imprints, creating echoes of the past. But not all hauntings are residual. Some encounters, like those with Chloe or the heavy footsteps reported by staff, seem more interactive. These are often referred to as intelligent hauntings, where spirits appear to respond to the presence of the living. For example, one investigator described an encounter where the sound of the footsteps followed them from room to room, stopping only when they left the building. If these reports are to be believed, could it mean that some spirits are still tethered to this place, unwilling or unable to move on? Psychology also plays a crucial role in shaping our experiences of the paranormal. The power of suggestion is particularly strong in places like the Myrtles Plantation, which has a well-known reputation for being haunted. Visitors arrive expecting to encounter something otherworldly, and their heightened state of awareness can make even mundane occurrences feel supernatural. A drafty hallway might become a ghostly breeze, or a faint noise might be interpreted as whispers. Interestingly, cultural narratives also influence how we perceive hauntings. In the American South, ghost stories are often intertwined with themes of loss, injustice, and memory. The stories of Chloe and the Woodruff family reflect these themes, blending history with folklore to create a tapestry of the supernatural that feels both personal and universal. Now, whether these phenomena are the result of natural factors or psychological influences or true encounters with the otherworldly, the Myrtles Plantation remains a place that challenges our understanding of reality. It blurs the line between what we know and what we fear, leaving us to wonder, what if? Some stories are true. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, there is no denying the emotional weight of this place. Every creak of the floorboards, every shadow that dances in the flickering light, it feels alive, as though the past is closer than we think. This is one of those places where I would definitely love to visit and experience for my own. Visiting the Myrtles Plantation is an experience that lingers. For the brave, the plantation offers ghost tours, allowing you to walk the same halls where so many have reported their spine-chilling encounters. And for those truly daring, you can stay overnight, sleeping in the rooms where countless stories of the paranormal have unfolded. Now imagine sitting on the veranda, late at night, the cool Louisiana breeze carrying with it the faint strains of a piano music from an empty parlor. Would you stay or would you run? I know what I would do. But the Myrtles isn't just a place for thrill seekers. It's also a profound reminder of a shared history, the lives of those who lived, loved, and lost here. It reminds us of the resilience of the human spirit and the stories we leave behind, whether etched in journals, passed through whispers, or embedded in the very walls of the places we once called home. The Myrtles Plantation is more than a destination. It's a journey into the unknown. It invites us to confront the mysteries of death and life, to wonder about the nature of reality and the stories that transcend time. Perhaps that's why places like this capture us so deeply. They offer not just a glimpse into the past, but a reflection of our own fears and fascinations. So, what do you think? Are the hauntings of the Myrtles Plantation real? Or are they the echoes of history, amplified by our imagination and our need to connect with something beyond ourselves? Personally, I do think the reality lies somewhere in between. Either way, the stories live on. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of one of America's most haunted locations. But before you go, I believe Ghastly Gary has some message for you, so please do stick around for him. And if you are planning a visit, the Myrtles Plantation is located in St. Francisville, Louisiana, just a short drive from Baton Rouge. Be sure to book a ghost tour or an overnight stay if you're feeling brave, and immerse yourself in the stories that have captivated so many. Or you may have visited it already, and in that case, I'd really love to know your own personal experience. So do reach out to me and share your story of Myrtles Plantation. Next time, we'll step into another realm of mystery and intrigue, uncovering the secrets of yet another fascinating location. Until then, stay curious, keep exploring, and remember, sometimes the past is closer than you think.
Boo! Oh, don't be scared, it's just me, Ghastly Gary, popping in to say thanks for hanging out with us on today's episode of Paranormal Pursuits with Shinjan. Did you enjoy it? I sure did. Nothing like a good ghost story to make a ghost feel alive. You know what I mean. Now, before you go floating off into the night, I've got a few favors to ask. You see, I've got a haunted family to support. My little ghostlings are growing up so fast, and my dear wife, Phantom Phyllis, says I need to bring home more ectoplasm. So, here's the deal. First, if you liked the episode, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next spooky adventure, and it'll help keep my haunted house in top shape. Second, share this podcast with your friends, family, and even that one weird neighbor who talks to their plants. They might be into the paranormal too. The more listeners we have, the more haunted fun we can conjure up. And finally, if you're feeling extra generous, why not buy Shinjan a coffee? You see, keeping this podcast running is hard work, and every little bit helps. Plus, my ghost kids are always asking for the latest in invisible toys. You wouldn't want to disappoint them, would you? Oh, and don't forget, all the details for buying that coffee and following us on social media are in the episode description. It's easier than finding your way through a haunted house in the dark, I promise. Remember, stay curious, stay safe, and always keep questioning the unknown. You never know what mysteries you might uncover next. This is Ghastly Gary, signing off. Thanks for your support, and until next time, I'll be watching, in a totally non-creepy ghostly way, of course.